Welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we are going to get all the details about the 87th annual Quincy Bay Race Week that's coming up later on this month. First, though, as always, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, we have some hazy sunshine, 86 degrees right now. There is a heat advisory in effect through 8 o'clock tonight due to the combination of heat and humidity. You'll feel a lot hotter than that. Temperatures this evening will dip down into the muggy low to mid 70s. I think it'll be a little hotter tomorrow, believe it or not, with another heat advisory expected. Tomorrow we could hit 90 degrees before some afternoon thunderstorms blow in. That'll cool us off a bit tomorrow night as temperatures drop down to the upper 60s. Much cooler on Wednesday. More clouds than sun, I think, on Wednesday, but highs Wednesday only in the mid 70s. And rather a damp day here on Thursday with clouds and showers. Still cooler with Thursday's highs again in the mid 70s. Again, right now we have some hazy sunshine, 86 degrees in Quincy. Checking out the news for you today. Well, the recently approved state budget does include $25 million to help build a new parking garage in Quincy Center. House Speaker Ron Mariano of Quincy added that provision, which survived the budget process. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch says he is very grateful for that funding.
I do know that the earmark to help us with the garage for the medical building is in there. That survived, so that's a good thing. This is the $25 million towards the garage for the Beth Israel Medical Building.
Mariano faced criticism from Republican lawmakers for adding that $25 million amendment to the budget from the state's so-called millionaires tax. But Mariano defended the move, saying the tax was meant for improving transportation. The money will help fund a 500-space parking garage for a new health center being planned by Beth Israel Deaconess Milton. Construction on the new center is expected to begin later this year and be completed in late 2027. The new $61 billion state budget also includes earmarks for Quincy nonprofits and for summer state police patrols. Quincy State Representative Tacky Chan says funding for homeless services was actually decreased.
Money for various local not-for-profit agencies, QCAP, Quincy Resources, Georgetown Neighborhood Center. It's overtime patrols on the beaches. It's going to be a hot and tough summer, sounds like, so we do provide some extra money for overtime patrols for state police on Frenchbrook Parkway and Quincy Drive. And there's a lot of scattering monies here, like the Presidential Library, which is one of the mayor's priorities. So it's also a lot of indirect stuff, we didn't get as much money for homeless assistance. I understand Father's Bill statewide, not just Father's Bill, but statewide, they were advocating to get about $122 million, but we came up with $112 million. So we didn't quite get everything we wanted because they're anticipating an increased spike in homelessness given the rate the economy is moving.
Chan says overall, Quincy receives about $70 million in state aid for education, public safety, and infrastructure. It is the second largest source of revenue for the city after property taxes. 24 students recently graduated from the Quincy College Practical Nursing Program. The students received their traditional nursing pins during a ceremony at Quincy High School. The Dean of Natural Health Sciences, Karen Manning, told the new nurses that they are entering a time-honored field.
The skills you learned at Quincy College will help you save lives, and the compassion you bring will heal hearts. Remember that nursing is both a science and an art. It requires dedication, resilience, and a commitment to lifelong learning. But above all, it requires a deep and unwavering compassion for the people you serve. Today, you join a proud legacy of caregivers who make a difference every day. So when you step forward in your role, do so with confidence. Wear that pin with pride and recognition of Quincy College. Wear it in recognition of the knowledge you've gained and the passion that you brought here.
Those students completed a 10-month practical nursing certificate program. Catherine Koch from Quincy received the Faculty Award for Best Representing the College Nursing Philosophy. Wilfred Wan from Quincy received the Academic Excellence Award for achieving the highest grade point average in the class. Quincy College also offers a 2-year Associate in Science degree in nursing. The graduates must now pass a national exam to begin their nursing practice. 5 granite monuments and a granite bench will be dedicated at the site of the former Beachcomber nightclub on Quincy Shore Drive tomorrow. Monty Ackerman Granite Company from Quincy was the only bidder on the project to create the new monuments, which were installed recently and then covered up before tomorrow's ceremony. The monuments will pay tribute to the club that first opened there in 1959. It closed in 2015. Famous acts including Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Tony Bennett, more recently Jay Leno, Linda Ronstadt, and Dropkick Murphys all performed at the Beachcomber. The city purchased that property after the building was torn down in 2021 for $2.25 million and set aside another $850,000 to create the park. Tomorrow's dedication ceremony is set for 2 p.m. Well, the city of Quincy celebrated Independence Day and the city's 400th anniversary with 3 days of parades and flag-raising ceremonies, a bonfire, even a maritime festival. It all started actually last Thursday night with the traditional Howes Neck bonfire before the fireworks from Wessagusset Beach in North Weymouth. And then the 4th of July on Friday featured the traditional Squantum and Merrymount parades, where many of the floats from the Flag Day parade made another appearance. Flag-raising ceremonies were also held on Howes Neck and in Squantum. Friday also kicked off the city's first ever Maritime Festival at Marina Bay. That was a 3-day event featuring live music, entertainment, revolutionary reenactors. There were children's activities, a dinghy festival, a bike and a wagon parade, and a lot more. Yesterday also featured a live concert on the Hancock Adams Common in Quincy Center. This coming Saturday, Dropkick Murphys are scheduled to perform a free concert 4 p.m. in Quincy Center. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, Quincy Bay Race Week 2025 is later on this month. We'll get all the details next. It's Quincy Bay Race Week, 87th this year, and President Bonnie Marcel is here along with Frank Hart to tell us more about it. Welcome, guys and gals.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having us here.
Hey, Frank, always good to see you, either in front of the camera or behind it. Appreciate all your help here. And Bonnie, great to see you as well.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, the 87th Quincy Bay Race Week. And do you know that there are still folks that have never heard of it?
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe, but true.
But after today, everyone will know about it.
Exactly, because we're going to make sure of that, right?
Yeah, the first one was in 1937.
Yeah.
And it's a long-standing tradition of one design racing. And we've had 3 separate lines out there for the PHRF, which are the very big sailboats. And then the outside line, which are the larger one design boats, and then the inside line, which is the smaller racing boats. And
so, do you know how did it all kind of get started? You know, why a race week?
because a lot of yacht clubs were putting together race weeks. Marblehead Race Week. All the boats would go up there. Back in '37, there weren't a lot of people with motorboats. There was everybody had sailboats back then.
Sure.
And the yacht clubs were thriving back then too. And it became pretty exciting. There were only 2 years since '37 we didn't have it. One was during World War II, and the other one was the first year of COVID. We didn't hold it.
Sure.
But other than that,
very impressive record, really.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to the dedication and the commitment to the people who sail the
Yeah.
vessels, right? This is a passion for them. It's a way of life.
it's a way of life.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about your story, Bonnie, and how you got involved with Quincy Bay Race Week.
Oh, I've been racing my whole life.
Have you?
Yeah. I started out in a turnabout, and then when I was a kid, and then we bought lasers. We had a fleet of lasers, and then our parents had hustlers, So I started crewing for my father, and one year he hurt his shoulder. He had bursitis or something like that, so he couldn't hold the tiller anymore. So he put me on the tiller. So I felt like a tiller extension. He told me which way to go and what to do and everything, and we won everything that year.
Is that right?
Yes. And
And from then on, you were the tiller person.
and then I got my own hustler.
I see, okay.
So in my 20s, I got my own hustler and
Okay.
this and that. And I went to the Quincy Bay Race Week meetings with my father. He was a delegate, and I would go as well. And I met my husband through sailing. He
Really?
was the race committee on the outside line, Mike Marcel, and he raced Tornadoes back in the day, which is a high-performance Olympic-class catamaran. So that's how, and
That's how
just
you
kept
grew up here in Quincy.
in Squantum,
Oh,
yeah.
Squantum, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And which yacht club at that time were you associated
When I was a kid, I was at Wollaston Yacht Club,
Yeah.
and in 1984, a lot of the racing sailors moved over to Squantum Yacht Club. So I went over to Squantum Yacht Club, joined there in 1984. And then my husband, so I'm a life member at Squantum Yacht Club. I'm a honorary member for life at Wollaston Yacht Club because I was their first female member.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Michael is a member of Quincy Yacht Club, and he races a Star now, so he's also a member at Cottage Park up in Winthrop.
Okay. How did you become president of the Race Week Association?
The 8 clubs take turns on who they put up to be they call it honors, to become the second vice president. So when it was Squantum's turn to put someone up to be second vice president, my name came up. And the criteria is you have to be a Commodore of some sort to be put up for that. And I was the Vice Commodore at Squantum Yacht Club. So I was second Vice President and then first Vice President. And this year, I'm President.
Congratulations.
And next year, I'll be a past President.
Right. It's just a one-year term.
It's a one-year term.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Tell me about the association itself. You know, what does that consist of?
It's made up of 8 yacht clubs.
Okay.
Squantum, Wollaston, Quincy. I don't want to foul this up. Town River,
Yeah.
Wessagusset, Braintree, Metropolitan,
South Shore.
South Shore.
Yep.
Very good. You get an A.
I do the map. I try to do the map in my head.
Sure. And about how many? Not even how many members roughly does that?
For the come to the
for
meetings.
all 8 clubs.
All 8
as part of
clubs.
the association, would you say?
Well, that's a good question, Joe.
That's why I'm looking at him. Answer it.
Okay, I'll make this one up.
Okay.
Meetings, we usually get 20 or 30 people, delegates there.
Yeah.
They're usually Commodores. Someone in the Commodore chain usually shows up from every club, whether it's a rear or vice of the Commodore
Okay.
or a past Commodore. And then there's delegates. Each club has 5 or 6 delegates
To represent the whole.
to
club.
represent the club
I see, okay.
and bring the information back to the club about
Yes.
about what's being talked about, when the regatta is going to be, things like that.
Sure.
That will be happening. So, yeah, on a good day, there's probably 30 or so people at
Yeah.
a meeting. So,
Okay.
And we have a board of trustees,
Okay.
which is probably 10 people, and everybody on the board has a job pretty much to do. And we have a lot of activities. Everybody seems to think it's just a one-week regatta, and
Right.
it's a lot more than that.
Is it? Tell us.
Well, we run the Summer Solstice Regatta, which I
Yes.
think you already covered on another show, but
Just wrapped up. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
we did that one.
that's on the Summer Solstice, and that's a PHRF regatta, which is the bigger boats. And we have scholarships, and we have rendezvous night during Quincy Bay Race Week, where Town River hosts rendezvous night. It's kind of like a celebration.
It's a celebration
Okay.
of
Yeah.
the party for
Yeah.
the race week.
And then we have the Bubble Boat Invasion, which is going to be August 4th this year.
Yep.
The bubble boats.
Yep, they have. Well, we used to have a boat parade
Yes.
that would go along Wollaston Beach.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah,
There was a,
yeah.
there was a
And we
beauty,
used to have
beauty pageant.
a beauty
Yes,
pageant,
oh,
too.
yes, yeah. Okay.
But the tide got in the way
Yeah.
of timing and everything, and so they kind of substituted it with, it's called a bubble boat invasion, which is like a inflatable boat
Oh,
that
okay.
people ride around
gotcha.
in, and they bring the water guns and they shoot each other. So it starts at Town River Yacht
River.
Club. That's going to be on the 8th of August, and it's at 1 o'clock, and then it goes to
Goes to Metropolitan Braintree.
and Braintree Yacht Club,
Okay.
and then rounds
back, yeah.
back to Town River Yacht Club. So that's kind of a fun celebration
Yes.
as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's, and I know there's a lot of camaraderie and social activities
Yeah.
that the clubs hold all year round, right?
And the clubs have different issues, so it's kind of nice to get together with the other clubs
Sure.
and find out how they deal with certain issues. We have a common landlord, some of us, right?
Right, DCR.
The DCR.
Oh, okay,
So
sure.
we all have similar issues, associated with that. Some of the yacht clubs have liquor licenses, some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
So we deal with that as we see fit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a whole organization you
Yeah.
know, that
It's a good way to get to
sailing
meet.
community.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get to meet people from the other yacht clubs and
Talk
and
about
talk with them and see what
sailing
they're up
issues,
to.
right?
Yeah.
How did you yourself, Frank, get involved with the race week?
Well, when I was going through the Commodore chain at Squantum, I started going to the meetings there. So that was I was Commodore in '79, so about 77, 70. I'm sorry, I was Commodore in 2015. I joined
okay.
in 1979.
Okay.
Get this straight.
Yep. Yep.
And so I started going to the meetings in about 2008, or 2009, and I went to the meetings as a delegate for quite a while.
I see.
And then Paul Lewis.
Yep.
Well, you know
Sure,
Paul. Maybe
sure.
a lot of people that watch the show know Paul from the. He's the one who used to come on and do all this. He wanted, after about 10 or 12 years of going through the chain, to be president and then doing media and publicity.
It's a lot.
He
for
wanted
one
a
person.
break.
Yeah.
So he talked me into it. So here I am.
There you are.
Yeah, and one thing about being a volunteer at QATV, I get to use the equipment. So last year we did multiple shows on the regatta, and we're planning on doing that again this year.
Yes.
With the help of QATV to put it all together.
Yeah.
So thank
So-
you for that.
Yeah, we're happy to do it. We're glad you're able to do it, actually.
Yeah.
But like Bondi, did you grow up sailing? Is it kind of in your blood? No.
No, not like Bonnie.
Okay.
My father had a powerboat back in the
Oh, okay.
60s, and I was actually, I always liked the water, like being around the ocean, liked surfing, doing that. And I was working at the University of Maryland, and my boss had a sailboat on the Chesapeake Bay. And we went out for the day on the boat, light wind, just boat was barely moving, just coasting along. And I got hooked. I said, I got to get one of these.
Is that right?
Yeah, but unfortunately I made a detour getting back here through New Mexico, so it was a few years later that I actually bought a sailboat.
Okay.
That's when I joined Squantum in '79
I see. Okay.
with a sailboat. Yeah.
Whole different experience, right, than a motorboat.
Oh, totally.
Completely different.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I don't know, but
It's just so nice and quiet.
yes. Yeah.
And just the way it moves through the water and doesn't bang, and they're much different.
Sure.
It's not so quiet when you're racing, though.
No, a lot of yelling and screaming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the race this year, Bonnie. Quincy Bay Race Week, 87th. When is it? What'll be happening?
On the inside line is going to be hosted by Wessagusset Yacht Club.
Okay.
Excuse me. And that'll be July 24th and 25th.
Okay.
And one thing I forgot to mention was we have 5 scholarships to hand out this year. The due date's already come in for the essays, which
Okay.
will be redacted, and the board will decide who the winners are. $2,000 scholarships and 3 $500 scholarships.
Wow.
Those will be awarded on the 25th.
Okay.
So the regatta is the 24th and the 25th of July
Yep.
at Wessagusset Yacht Club. And that's for the inside line. There'll be Opties there, 420s, Club 420s,
Club 420s, yeah.
N10s, which the old turnabouts, Widgeons, and lasers will be on that.
These are all different types of sailing boats.
One design sailing boats,
Okay.
yes. And then the outside line, so that's Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
The outside line on Saturday and Sunday
Oh.
will be from Squantum Yacht Club on Saturday and Sunday at Wollaston Yacht Club.
Okay.
and that will be Stars, Thunderbirds, and Hustlers. We'll be racing on that. And I'll be on that race committee, and you'll be with us, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I'll be filming.
Yep,
So,
So this is a 4-day event.
4-day
Yeah,
event,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. And it is a competition, right? It's a race.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there prizes?
absolutely.
Oh.
And nobody loves the prizes more than the kids.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. What are the prizes?
They're usually trophies
Okay.
that say the year and what they won,
Yeah.
first,
Gotcha.
second, and third.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each category or each class?
Yes,
is
each
different?
class will get at least first, second, and third.
the thing is, too, Joe, on some of these categories, the one designs for the kids, like the Optis and the N10s,
Yeah.
there's different fleets within each one of
see.
those. And in the Optis, it depends on age, and the N10s, it depends on experience. But the Optis have 4 different fleets, and the N10s have 3 different fleets. So there's prizes in each one of those, trophies in
Okay.
each one of those fleets, too. And then an overall for the Optis.
Yeah. So it's highly competitive, it sounds
Oh, yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of bragging rights, folks coming
Yeah.
back to defend their titles, kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay. And as the kids kind of age, do they graduate to different classes of vessels?
They move up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It usually runs Optis. They start in the Optis, and then some of them will go to the N10s. Some of them will go to the Club 420s. Club 420 is a more popular boat now than the N10s. So they do that. The lasers, sometimes they go from the Optis into lasers when they get a little bit older. There's a couple of classes of lasers also.
Okay.
And Quincy, City of Quincy has some Widgeons. And Quincy Yacht Club has some Widgeons, so
Oh, okay.
they will race in those.
Oh, from the Recreation Department sailing program?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Did you come through that program, Bonnie?
No, I
No.
went through the sailing program at Wollaston Yacht Club.
Okay.
And some of the clubs have sailing programs.
yeah.
Squantum, Wollaston, Quincy, Town River, South Shore,
Yeah, Wessagusset.
Wessagusset. So if the other clubs that don't have sailing programs, members there can send their kids to the clubs that do have
Really?
sailing
Oh,
programs.
that's
yes.
nice. Okay.
And they're open to the public, some of them too, at a different rate, of
Okay.
course. Yeah.
Okay. So worthwhile to check that out if
Yeah.
folks are interested as well,
Yeah.
right? Now, for spectators who want to watch Quincy Bay Race Week, what are some good ways for them to do that?
For the inside line on the 25th and 24th and 25th?
Yep.
24th and 25th. That's down in Weymouth.
Yep.
So they call it the New Beach
Okay.
down in Wessagusset
Sure.
there. You can see a lot from the water from there.
Okay.
You'll be able to see that. Or if you're out in a boat in the Fore River, you can see a lot too.
Sure.
And then on Saturday and Sunday, any place on Wollaston Beach, Nut Island, you can see the outside line racing.
Okay. All right. So it's free for folks to watch, right?
Yeah.
And it's visible from the beach, so you don't need binoculars or drones or.
No.
Okay.
When I was a kid, Narragansett Beer used to sponsor Quincy Bay Race Week.
Is that right?
And they used to run fireworks in the middle of Quincy Bay.
Wow.
And everybody in Quincy could see them because
Okay.
they'd be in the middle of Quincy Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't do alcohol sponsors anymore.
Gotcha. Okay.
DCR doesn't permit us.
No.
They frown on that, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it really is indicative of the popularity and also the vitality of sailing still, 87 years later.
Yeah.
Here in Quincy.
Yeah.
For folks who want to learn more or maybe participate, how do they do that?
We have a website,
Okay.
QuincyBayRaceweek.com.
.com.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Easy enough.
And it's got all kinds of places where you can donate. We
Yes.
have a yearbook where people donate money or they can be sponsors. We haven't closed that down yet
Oh,
to
all right.
publish it yet.
Okay.
So that's, there's a spot on the website that says contribute. So click on that
Okay.
and you can see how to contribute.
Yeah, this fundraising this is how Quincy Bay gets their money.
Yes.
So anybody that becomes a sponsor, and they're a 501c3,
Correct, yeah.
so it is tax deductible
Sure.
also. But it's a good organization to sponsor. It goes to help the sailing, sometimes they help out a little bit with, just the communications about the different sailing schools talking to each other about what they do and,
Absolutely.
and how they're doing it, and trying to build up the sailing schools.
Hope you have a wonderful event again this year. Wish you fair seas, right? Calm winds.
Not too calm.
Not too calm, just enough to race with. But thank you both for coming by and appreciate the opportunity to learn more about it.
Thank you for all your support.
Thanks, Joe.
Welcome. Always a pleasure. Just enough time. Check the forecast for you for the rest of the day. Today, actually, the heat is on. There's a heat advisory through 8 o'clock tonight with the combination of heat and humidity making it feel very oppressive. Mid-70s this evening. Tomorrow, I think we crest 90 degrees, so there'll be another heat advisory before the storms blow in and cool us down for Wednesday and Thursday, with temperatures both days only in the mid-70s. Thanks again to Bonnie Marcel, Frank Hart for joining us from Quincy Bay Race Week.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching Friday here on the show. The car doctor, John Paul from AAA Northeast, joins us for a summer update. Meantime, you can check our website, qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and a whole lot more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.